It's odd to be in this room, in a room full of so many great people, and to be acknowledged for simply just trying to do my job.
I've been fighting for the culture my whole life.
We're human. We all make mistakes.
The Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards were created by Jason Lee as a testament to what we can achieve when we work together.
This night will be etched in the annals of time in celebration of Black culture, excellence, and impact. A night that the world will remember forever.
Let's build more bridges to connect all of us, to have more empathy for one another.
There will be moments in your life where things get dark, and I mean really dark.
I don't like showing weakness in my music because it's hard to be yourself.
Thank you.
What good is it having influence if you don't use it when it matters most?
The Zeus Network is proud to be an exclusive partner of the 4th Annual Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards.
This is a night to celebrate us unapologetically and with immense pride.
What's up? What's up? This your girl, Rebel Ray. And listen, I am here because I am super excited to introduce our prodigal son. He's come back to Stockton, y'all. Mr. Jason Lee, businessman, entrepreneur, millionaire, exceeded all of our expectations and hated on the haters. We're hating on the haters. And I love it. I'm glad that you're here.
I don't even entertain haters. The haters are part of the process. Success does not become a destination until you have haters along the way. So I'm privileged to have haters. They motivate me. In fact, I actually do better when people are hating on me. I think the thing that people have to understand about me is the secret sauce is when you are hating or trying to stop me or doubting me or telling me I can't do something. That's literally the thing that gives me the wind beneath my wings.
I love it.
Just so we're clear.
I love it. And I love that you're always able to rectify, speak your mind. I think that's what we need in today's age. And here at the Pruned podcast, we talk about the process. The process is not always as cute as a lot of you all say it is on Instagram. A lot of you all want to share your stories, but that's not all everyone's origin stories. And so I love to always go into those in-depth conversations because we forget to dialogue with one another. We forget to celebrate one another's triumphs through adversity. And so, listen, I'm glad that you're here today. And I really want to focus on you. Focus on the fact that you have returned to Stockton. We're excited. Many of the individuals who have been tired of seeing some of the things we've been seeing in the politics, we've been seeing in our streets, the violence that is happening within our streets, the healing that needs to happen, but also the innovation. Let's talk about that. And I want to, before we ever get started, let's lay the foundation. I was a watcher for a very long time, and I had to watch you. I had to be a believer. I don't go with a lot of the hype. I'm not a fame seeker, but I believe in righteousness. I believe in destiny. I believe also that we're all ordained to do something. We have a sacred purpose, and I've always led with that. And when I read your book, when I began to listen to your story, and I listened to your growth, I knew you were the one that I truly wanted to endorse. And so I'm going to say that aloud here on my podcast personally. As R.C. Thompson, a Stockton leader here, I am endorsing you for our district city council.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, what I told people, well, first of all, I appreciate you talking about the journey. I don't tell people that I've changed because people say, oh, you've changed. No, I'm still the exact same Jason Lee you've ever watched. If you read my book, I'm that Jason Lee. If you watch me on Wild 'N Out, I'm that Jason Lee. If you read my book, I'm that Jason Lee. Podcast, Jason Lee. Everything you see, because everything that we all are is a summation of what what we've been through, what we've triumphed through, and what we will continue to work to become. I don't, reflect on my life and think about, oh, I wish I didn't live on Sutter Street Park. No, I love living on Park and Sutter. I wish I didn't see somebody get killed at 7 years old. No, that was a part of my story. Everything I've been through has made me who I am, and everything I've done, I've owned, and I've lived out my life in full transparency. So I'm not really worried about how people have seen me. I think when people say he's changing for the better, no, I'm evolving.
That's
I think
right.
We all evolve. I think the greatest part about me returning home is that, one, you can come from nothing and get it all and still have an obligation to go back. But when you go back and you try to do better, people are still going to doubt you. People are going to question your intentions. People are going to talk about you, but you're not the summary of one situation. And I think that oftentimes little kids that look like me are often told that you're not good enough, or you're never going to be something, or you can't do this. And I'm just proving every time I do something that it is all possible.
You're killing it every time. I want to talk about how you inspire the millennials, the Gen X and the Gen Z. Being a social content influencer, it's a responsibility to go along with that. And I think everything is thought out in your evolution. I'm going to say it like that. Because even with some of the other things that people like to highlight, I was able to witness, and I'm going to say this, I was able to witness greatness. I kept this as a keepsake. It's a little warm. I kept it in my purse throughout the night. And this is the actual program that Mr. Lee put on for the award show for Hollywood Unlocked. And I was flabbergasted. First of all, to have the 209, the South Side represent with all the leaders there, and to see you shine bright. And I've never been a hater. I've never been someone that it's fake. I always praise where praise is due, because to know his story and to see him in that pink tuxedo, oh my God. Everybody was flabbergasted. We had such a wonderful time. You laid it out very high class. It was such a beautiful night. I always caught the Holy Ghost when Sister Sheer was up there singing your ability to minister to Jonathan. And he told his story behind and why that song was sung for him. Y'all missed it. I mean, you can support and buy a ticket next time, but you all missed it. You missed the spirit that was in there. And it was nothing like you think Jason Lee. And to hear some of our most profound leaders in the nation raise your voice up and say, you are the most thoughtful, social justice, equitable, diversity and anything that you want to associate with social justice, progressiveness, business-minded, high-class individual. And people were so happy. I know I could go on and on,
but the funny part is, I'm just Jason. I think the thing that's important is people understand what she's talking about, the Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards, which they can watch on the Zeus Network August 11th. It airs. I created that show after being told that I couldn't attend the VMAs when I was on two networks on Viacom. I was on VH1 with Love and Hip Hop, and I was on Wild 'N Out on MTV, and I didn't understand why I couldn't go to the award show. So instead of staying in this conundrum of why I can't attend a person's show that I don't own, I just said, I'll go build one.
Yes.
So I built one. But when I built my intention, and again, the thing I think it's important about me to know for people watching is that I'm a very intentional person. It was about creating an award show, not to celebrate who had the best song, who had the best outfit, but who had the most impact. So the Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards was created out of that spirit. So this year with Tiffany Haddish hosting again for the third year in a row, Tiffany, who's been to Stockton, who's committed to building a healthy grocery store in South Stockton. We had Cardi B, we had Christian Louboutin, who's African American, an African man of Egyptian descent, from Paris, who was allowed us to honor him. But it's not the people per se by title. It's the fact that if you were there, like you, we created an environment of love.
Yes, you did.
Ben Crump, who's been fighting for social justice and human rights as part of our civil rights experience in this country. Jasmine Crockett, who was fighting for us in Congress. I mean, we had a very intentional night. That was beautiful. And I think that is really the essence of what I tried to create. When I think about that night, the other thing I think about is that besides the fact that Sal Stockton was there and Malcolm, my youth campaign manager, who was 7 years old, was there, was that me standing on that stage and getting all that recognition from the industry and the leaders is Sal Stockton did that. And that is like, I think the biggest part of my whole professional experience, regardless of the content. You can watch my podcast and say, he crazy, he wild, he big opinions. And yes, I do. And I will still continue to have those.
And let's capitalize on that dollar. They don't understand that it's the business side of entertainment.
Yeah, it's entertaining. I am an entertainer for work. I mean, there's people on the city council right now in Stockton. You have a real estate broker, you have an accountant, you have a pastor, you have a teacher, you have a social worker, you have all these different people that have different jobs. Mine is I'm just an entertainer with a global platform. That is what I choose to do. But more importantly, how I choose to use it is what you saw at the award show. And those relationships only help me benefit in everything I do, including running for city council.
And it actually benefits the people around and the supporters, because a lot of times you can use your social influence for negativity or you can use it for positivity. And in that moment, I was able to see and I was hooked. I said, this is how it's done, right? We have to evolve. We have to evolve in our way on how we outreach and connect with people. It's so funny because, you know, we share a lot when we talk to each other and we check in. What I loved about you is you always understand your homework. When it comes to social relationships, you came back into Stockton full time and you checked in with every leader. Now, me being one of the leaders here in Stockton that helps with some of the crossroads, the decision making on how we're going to advocate for our people, you checked in with every major leader and they were calling me and telling me you were showing up. So I want to testify to that first because you did your homework, you listened, and you listen to the needs of Stockton.
Well, this is what I think is funny about the people who are just caught up in this hamster wheel of destruction that Stockton has found itself on, right? You know, continuing to keep people misinformed, continuing to keep resources away from the right people, hating, doubting, being negative, not being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Is that in any business that you're doing, like I'll take Hollywood Unlocked, or let's take, you know, my business for example, right? You can't launch a business or a product without doing a survey, doing your research, finding the stakeholders, identifying your audience, creating a message, and then being able to successfully execute and amplify it. That's just the principles in business that you can apply to anything. So when it came to me as an organizer within Kaiser, I know that the end result is trying to figure out how to deliver quality patient care. How do we get there? Building safer standards for the staff at the hospital, being able to develop better relationships with the managers, being able to create a culture to deliver that care, find out the resources that you need, and then executing it and making sure people know that it's aware. So when I look at the Stockton City Council or the work in the city, it's the same principle. It's just that the problem with Stockton is they don't have any business-minded people sitting up there. So what I've done is not just meeting with the CBOs, not just meeting with the county, not just meeting with the school district, not just meeting with community leaders or real estate developers, but I'm also meeting with people in the streets. I'm also meeting with the homeless people in the parks. I'm also talking to the everyday citizen who is not happy with the way that Stockton is currently functioning. Just yesterday, I saw in the news that the Miracle Mile folks had to end an event that they've had for 6 to 8 years because the city surprised them with fees out of nowhere and this whole process. And instead of the city having a process to expedite working through those things so that way the city can continue to flourish, those people are upset now, and it just continues to create this culture that we don't prioritize business, we don't prioritize tourism, we don't prioritize economic growth and involvement from our community. And guess what? There goes that hamster wheel again. So I did not want to come back and run, but if not me, who? There's the voter apathy in this community is high. People don't want to get involved because they don't believe it will change. And I'm just a believer that things can get better because I've seen it several times.
Ashe, and I know I want to talk about the ability to manifest for a moment. I'm a true believer in the universe and energy that you wield. And you're a true energy wielder. So I don't know if you know that about yourself.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
So going back to this historical story that you tell all the time about how you manifested yourself into Hollywood,
Yeah.
into fame. And you were here. What age was that at the fairgrounds?
I was 15.
15. Saw Queen Latifah performing
Mm-hmm.
and went and snuck backstage
Mm-hmm.
to talk to her and
Mhm.
said, I need you to what?
Give me your phone number. But I mean, her phone number is 10 digits, just like yours and mine, right?
Woo!
I think people and even in looking at me, you know,
Yes.
I've been very intentional for people as I've returned home that when I'm home,
Yes.
I'm Jason.
Mm-hmm.
If you see Jason the entertainer, Jason the celebrity, Jason this, that, whatever, the money, none of that validates Jason, the person
Right.
who had a lived experience from
Right.
Park and Sutter to South Scribner
Right.
to Mother on Hammer and El Dorado to navigating foster care, having a mother who was a single mother, struggle with drug addiction and prostitution to survive, who's been molested, who's been abused, who's been through the system, who lived in children's home, who lived in Mary Graham, who got shot and who watched his brother die. All those things happen here. So when people only go straight to the top of what they believe is the top of my priority, I got to take them all the way back to the top is what I've survived and what I've been through and the testimony that I give to other people. And the reason why I choose to pour into young people is because when I was growing up, there was nobody pouring into us. There was nobody acknowledging the voice of the voiceless. There was nobody investing in the ideas of a young person. Queen Latifah was the outlet for me. That happened at the fair. Now, when you look at the fair has lost that. The fair does not have the stadium that it had. I mean, the benches that it had and the staging. I saw In Vogue at the fair. I saw Brandy at the fair. And I've gone on to interview these people or meet these people in my adult life, and I'm just like, wow, it takes me back to the dreamer that I was at the end. At the beginning of my story. And so when I look at the dinner that we just had and raising the money for the programs that we've just had with Leadership Unlocked here with the youth, I mean, the whole theme of that, and in that book that I created was called Dreams Unlocked, because we want to be able to use the celebrity to get these kids' attention to unlock their dreams. But the celebrity is just a job.
Yeah.
It's just a job.
Yeah. And it's a pathway. And I think a lot of times too, taking back to your childhood, we look at the roots of a person, and that's what we do. We usually use the tree as a paradigm to really show how we grow, right? I always talk about the ecosystem. I always talk about the soil. What do you need at your roots? As a master now, right? You're a master. Mm-hmm. You'll be 47. Mm-hmm. I call us those that are in that age, and close happy birthday to you. I know it's coming soon. We're young elders. Mm-hmm. We're young elders now. If you ever remember having an elder that pulled you aside and spoke life into you, that spoke that you can do it, we're looking for that guidance right now. Mm-hmm. And when I met with you for the first time, I said that. I said, we have been traumatized.
Do you remember what I said?
What you say?
Because you all were talking about trauma. I said, I don't live in trauma. Mm-hmm. Like, we got to get out of the trauma. It doesn't mean that we don't have to work through the trauma, because I am sober. I am in therapy. Yeah. I do have a good group of friends around me. Yeah. I am in many ways, Stockton has done something for me recently that I haven't done in a long time. It's allowed me to be much more accessible, because you can't be inaccessible by the public, because that's the current issue with the current person that holds the seat that I'm running against. They're unavailable. They're unattainable. They're not anywhere to be found. They're missing. They belong on the back of a carton of milk. Uh-oh. But either way, that's me being honest and pointed. But the reality is that, I've had to work through all of that trauma to be able to see it in other people as soon as it comes, and then help them through theirs. Some people choose to live in their trauma. I don't RSVP to that party, because you got to allow people to work through their stuff in order for there to be a clear path to whatever the solution is. And I think for Stockton, you can see all the trauma. People are wearing it. The city's wearing it. There's so many issues that are just so visible that I look at it as an opportunity to work through that trauma together. And I keep telling everybody, including you, I keep saying, I'm not Superman. Yeah. Don't for a second think that I'm going to come in, put a cape on when I get elected, and I will get elected. That's
that manifestation, y'all. You have to watch that.
It's not just manifestation, because what they say, faith with no work is what?
Dead.
Okay. And I've been out there working.
Ashe.
My family's been out there working with me.
Been pounding that ground.
We have hundreds of volunteers, young people, all ages from 6 to 60, knocking on doors, talking to people, investing in rebuilding trust, earning trust, building strength and strengthening our district. Yes. Because when I win, we have to work as a collective. And I look at me as the face of the work, but the work that's going to be happening behind the scenes is investing in leaders like you who are doing the real work, other leaders who are out here building the community and working as a system and a collective to be able to move us forward. Because South Stockton, let's be very clear, has been the underinvested, most disrespected part of our city for decades. Do I think it's going to change overnight? Absolutely not. But it's going to take a person with a full-time commitment for a part-time position to actually force people in the city and then invite people from outside the city to invest in it so it can get to the next step.
And I think it needed a strong personality in District 6. It needed someone that wasn't a coward, that wasn't an internet gangster per se, that hid behind letters and typewriters. And I just aged myself, but the computer, the keyboard, a lot of times, too, that I watch you and I watch how you interact. And a lot of people don't know how to take you in. They're either fame struck or they're intimidated. When people want to, you talked about accessibility. When people want to be able to, get a hold of you, because we haven't been able to do that in District 6. And I think that was
You've
the
been
biggest.
able to get in touch with me. Meaning you haven't been able to get in touch
We
with
haven't been able to get in touch with District 6.
Got it.
Okay. We will not say.
Just want to clarify.
We will not say that person's name.
I do answer my calls.
Yes. I think that's a lot of the fear. I look at this is ordained. This is a time. This is a shift that we need right now. We're seeing it on the political realm, even at the United States level. Sometimes change is hard. We always talk about the pruning. There will be a pruning in your first year that you're going to be doing. You're going to be supporting growth here, but it's going to take some time. So what is that? What is that? Yes, because that's where I was leading to.
Yeah.
You do this. Okay. You're good at this.
First, let me say that intimidation, when it comes to me, comes from two different places, and I want to be very clear, and I hope everybody hears me. Okay. It comes from a place of your intention in interacting with me is not in good faith or in goodwill, meaning you have an intention other than what you're displaying, and you're afraid of how I'm going to respond to it. Because everybody who's honest, truth, and transparent with me, regardless of how they feel, you can walk up to me and say, "Can I tell you something?" I say, "Yes. I don't like you. I don't respect you. I don't like what you did. This decision you made was horrible. You're trash. That was trash." And I will actually respect you. But if you are saying you're supporting me because you think I'm famous, because you think I'm rich, because I'm friends with Rihanna, because of this or this, if you're trying to support me because of things outside of what's important to the purpose of why I've returned, then that doesn't really, it's not going to align with where I am, because I see me as Jason Lee from South Stockton, who used to run the streets, who now wants to run the city. And I look at me as somebody who brought in a 6-year-old campaign manager to guide him along the way so he can be the fruit at the end of this process. And I think that I've met with some of the business developers here who fund a lot of these campaigns, right? If you go look at the 460s, do research, see who's paying for all these campaigns. I've met with all of them, and I've said to them, I am a businessman and I want to do business with all of you as long as you're investing in the South Stockton. I don't want money. I don't want your endorsement. I don't even need your public support. I need you to not get in my way. And if you choose to be destructive to this movement, not a moment, because what's happening right now in District 6 is a movement. If you become a disruptive part of that process, then you'll be fruit of the poisonous tree on the other side of it. Well, and unlike everybody who says, well, it's just an election, and when we get through it, we'll all work together. No, you are either about being progressive or regressive, because my family, who's stayed in this community when I chose to leave, has buried many cousins, have buried many sisters and brothers and sons and daughters. And I believe that this city has done a strategic job, at least in South Stockton, with the representation that it's had, of investing in things that create more boxes for parents to put their kids in, and scholarships to get them to college, jobs to put them in so they can have economic vitality, or in ways of building a community where you can walk to go and have yogurt instead of a smoke shop and a liquor store. Wow. And because of that, I can't wait to win the seat, because winning the seat means I earn the trust of the people. And when I've earned the trust, I'll make sure to maintain that.
I think that's important to know. And a lot of times, I think we've just gone with the flow of things and not had that tenacity, like you said, feeling that apathy, feeling the undesire to even keep our city council members, in check. they work for the people,
Yeah.
and that's what we're expecting. So talking about being in check, there's a couple of traditions I always have on the podcast, and a lot of it is our church lady announcements. You know where that came from?
No.
Us being in church.
Oh yeah.
And the long ass announcements of
The
everybody's
secretary.
the secretary.
See, mine at New Hope,
Uh-huh.
it was Mother Norwood. I don't know where
Mother
she is now.
Norwood.
Mother Norwood would get up there and we would be like, it's 5 o'clock already. We've been here for 10 hours. Get to it.
So, before we introduce that, though, we're talking about a lot of people have ordained you the disruptor. I welcome disruption.
Mm.
I welcome people who can look through a lot of the melancholy, call it out, and is ordained to tell the truth to the light, right? And so I brought you a small little gift.
Okay.
It's a cool little gift shop on Boss Lady Boutique. Cool little gift shop.
Okay, the only thing is, if you give me a gift because I'm running for office, it has to be reported.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's report this.
Want me to
So
open it now?
anytime there is some melancholy on that dais, I want you to shake it.
Well, listen. Let me say this. If you've been watching me,
Shake it.
you've been watching me going to the city council.
I have.
At first when I was going, like some of the things, let's be clear. I haven't even taken office yet. Some of the things that we've already done is we've worked with Housing Authority to desegregate the pool in Sierra Vista.
Come on.
Where they were
you climbed that fence. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Let me get to the fence. First at Sierra Vista, they were telling families that certain kids in certain homes can swim in the pool and some couldn't.
Well,
we worked with Georgia over
Brownlee.
there, Georgia Brownlee, who runs that area, and you and Peter Ragsdale from the Housing Authority to make it available for all kids. So that was one.
Yeah.
Then I met with the farm workers who were saying that they were spraying pesticide on them and that they weren't encouraged to go and speak at city council because there was no translation. We started a process where we organized the community, wrote letters, filed complaints, did information requests, and then 8 months later they're getting ready to offer translation to the city. We've had the 70 beds at the Gospel Rescue Mission. They were going to shut that down and put 70 homeless men back out onto the streets. I created a whole campaign online, went and filmed it, did a little interview, got the attention of the county, built a bridge for them to keep the beds open. And now we're bringing in state money to figure out how to keep it going.
Let's go.
And so those are just a few of the things. But when I think about that, that's disruptive. Because in this community, the elected people at City Hall are asleep and don't work for the city. So it is disruptive to actually do your job.
Thank you.
I think Stockton has been
asleep. We've been asleep, Jason.
No. The residents of Stockton have been used as a political step stool for everybody who's wanted to start here but move on. I've already said a couple of things. I don't want to be the mayor of Stockton and will never be. I don't have any intentions in doing that. I'll commit 8 years to here in Stockton in this position. I don't want to be senator, governor, congressman, and my legacy work is really to be able to build a healthy grocery store in South Stockton, to see flowers and trees and community and a clinic and work to shut down some of these liquor stores and smoke shops and hotbeds of murder that have been a problem in our community for a long time that we all know about. And that's going to bring a lot of accountability. Yes. I've said I'm going to get in, and I've just talked to the city attorney the other day and said, when I get elected, I need to know my powers immediately because we're going to have to audit Measure A to see what scams and what misuse of taxpayer money has happened. And people who did things wrong will go to jail. Because accountability is the thing that teachers teach their students, parents teach their children, that we all teach each other when we have to cohabitate this thing we call Earth. And I don't know that getting elected absolves you of that responsibility.
It doesn't absolve you. And it's going to be one of the upstanding leadership. And we see that it's a lot of leadership failings right now that's happening that are being exposed. I think about Cat Williams' podcast with Uncle Shay. And I'm just telling you, a lot of people are being provoked by the truth right now. And if you can't see the truth, if you're not understanding what time it is, you haven't woke up. And a lot of people speak about this wokeness. You have to activate your pineal gland. You have to activate your emotional intelligence, see through this and move logically. And it's time for us now to come together. Yeah. I was talking about that earlier at one of our community meetings. You can say I'm in emotion, no roller coaster over here. This person doesn't like me. I don't want to deal with this person. Or you can mobilize and organize to get the work we need done.
Yeah. Well, and the work starts before you get elected. So we did We did 2 big community forums. We did a Toy for Joy giveaway through my nonprofit with
That was
3,000
dope.
kids and their families.
Listen, that line, and not to brag,
Yeah.
I'm not to interrupt you. That line was so wrapped around. He was like, RCU. I said, no, it was intimidating just to get in. It was wrapped around that building.
It was from the school in Service to all the way past the airport.
Yes,
it was on. But the highlight of that day, besides the fact that everything was free and that people were happy and kids were crying and families were crying and stuff like that, is we did the free haircuts, free food, and the free toys. But it was the fact that it was safe.
Yes.
That nothing happened, and that narrative that you can't do anything positive in the South, or the South can't do anything positive, therefore we won't. It's crazy. So we proved that was wrong. But what I loved is that, since we've been, back and doing the work, what I've seen is there's such a hunger for people who want to get involved. We did the community forums. We did the Toy for Joy giveaway. We've done multiple leadership workshops with young people. We did 32 hours of coffee with a candidate where people come and talk to you one-on-one. We knocked on doors. We called everybody in the entire district. And I think the thing that people are surprised is you are out here really doing it. Like, you really are doing it. We went to this, I spoke at the Sikh temple. I walked in the Cinco de Mayo parade. I went to the Juneteenth and the Petals of Peace. But the thing that's the loudest of all that is my opponent, Kim Wormsley, has been nowhere.
Has been nowhere.
And the thing
on the other wrong side of town or someone else's district.
Well, but that's I'm speaking specifically for where it matters, and that is in the district that put her in the seat. I've said they said, oh, he wants money. I have more money than this position could ever pay. In fact, I've even said I'm going to donate my salary to creating a youth athletic commission to help the kids on the South Side for their sporting interests. So they can't figure out. First, I was the guy that needed money. Now I'm the rich guy buying the election. Now they don't know. So
they were saying you were mad also, and let's clear that up while you're on there.
Before we go there, let me say in this vein, because it's important. I need to be able to get this out.
Go ahead.
I think it's really important for people to understand that Stockton lives and exists within the news desert. You're not like Los Angeles or Miami or New York or Atlanta, where you have the LA Times, the New York Times, you have the Miami Herald. You have a news desert where the Stockton Record, which was my first job as a paper boy, that had a circulation to the entire city, is pretty much decimated and decimated by the times and with technology. Now you have to subscribe to the website, which is pointless because it's a trash paper. But you don't have a legitimate news source. The news outlets on TV only cover homicides or like doom and gloom. So you don't really have a mix of what's actually happening, nor do you have a real strategic focus from the news. Showing the Stockton lens here. But then you have different pages who say whatever they say, whether you're Stocktonian 2 or 9 times, whatever. And so within all of that is somewhere the truth. What I know for sure is that the people of Stockton are being taken advantage of because of that lack of news. And they're getting their news from they're getting it from. And what I've seen is people will say, if you do an interview on this platform, you're with them. If you don't do an interview on the platform, is that. But what I will tell you is, why are we not talking about the youth summits? Why are we not talking about?
We're not talking about the positive stuff.
The positives.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And speaking of positives, I want to go through, and start off with your block party.
I cut you off when you were going to ask me about. You said,
clear that up. Clear that up real quick. So it was Jason got mad because he came back because the city wouldn't give him $1 million for his Hollywood Unlocked. And I want you to clear that up to the best of your ability. We ain't gonna start no mess, but I want that clear, because I think you came back because you saw that there need to be a resolution to some of the crookedness we were seeing on the dais. That's what I really truly believe.
Well, I'm going to answer the question first. I don't feel I need to clear anything up, because those who know, and those who don't know assume. And I can't. I always say that you got to be careful when a clown invites you to participate in the circus.
Well,
I don't have the time to show up as a clown. But what I will say is, I was living in LA doing well for myself, but I was seeing all these different things happening in the city. I would come back and there would be no events, nothing to do, bored at my sister's house, people getting killed, kids at schools, different things happen. And I just felt like, FBI investigations at the district. I'm like, what is happening in my city? Because this is a city that I love. But more importantly, how are the young people? Think about this for a minute. How are kids in this community? How are they emotionally developing when around them every day? their friends are dying, their school board people are going to jail, this person's being accused of this, that, there's nothing to do after school, there's nowhere healthy to eat, like in their community. How are they developing? So when I start thinking about all that, I talked to Mayor Lincoln about what he can do to help the young people. And he talked about a discretionary budget that he has. And I don't know, I'm not in the city yet, so I don't know what having a discretionary budget means. You have this amount of money, that, whatever, but he had a budget to do stuff that he had a discretion for. And I said, well, why don't you develop some youth programs?
Right.
I'm launching a nonprofit. I can help you.
Right.
I have all these relationships, and we were having meetings and we were talking about how to do what I'm literally doing now on my own.
Right, on your own.
How we could do it in partnership with the city, because the city needed fresh energy, a new lens, somebody who has the heart and has the resources to help. Because unlike, I don't know how many people go to the city from a nonprofit and say, hey, I have $1 million. If you put in $1 million and we'll do this 2-year, $2 million program, and here's what it looks like and whatever. And so we did that. And the one thing I think that people don't know is that the mayor and the vice mayor, Kim Wormsley, who's the District 6 rep, okay? When I went to Stagg High School, my alma mater, where my nephews go to speak to those kids with Tiffany Haddish after the young girl Lala had been murdered there at the school.
Rest in peace.
I didn't do that for the cameras. I did that because those kids, like the kids at Cleveland Elementary when Patrick Purdy murdered all of them and Michael Jackson came back, needed to have somebody reaffirm their value, their purpose, and that they will be okay to deal with their trauma. So I did that. I was privileged to meet Lala's father, mother, siblings, the kid that she played on the sports team with, all the students there at the school. But more importantly, we were able to hear from the kids how they had safety concerns the district refused to respond to. And I invited them to say it in front of the news cameras, because all the news was there because Tiffany was coming. And I was coming. So afterwards, we did a conference, a press conference in the library, and all the press wanted to talk to me and Tiffany. I said, Tiffany's not going to speak because she's not from Stockton. And I'm not going to answer any questions from the adults. Let the journalists from Stagg come in and ask me questions, and then you all can record it. And
that was the young journalist.
The young youth journalist. So I was able, so there's actually a photo of all the news cameras and me standing there in the middle, but the kids asking me all the questions. And that was really kind of the thing that I've always been about. Like, I want to hear from the youth. I want the youth to ask the questions because nobody's asking them. So fast forward, this is the part that y'all don't know. The mayor and vice mayor Wormsley after that came to my home in LA. I sent a car for them. I had my chef cook for them. I laid out this beautiful meal, and we had a conversation about the dreams of young people, in particular South Stockton, how we can invest in them. I was thinking I would just either maybe fund programming or partner with them on different things, or even, help Kim be successful in the district as a resource. All these commitments were made from them that we were going to do it. When we came back, the commitment was there. And so then the community was organized and galvanized. We had hundreds of people. And then somewhere something changed. And when I saw it changing, I just thought back to 2012 when I tried to do this with Michael Tubbs and Anthony Silva. There was a disconnect between them. When I saw the same thing happening again, this is what I said to myself. I'm a different Jason now. I'm more resourced. I have a big platform. I have the heart and I have the will to make sure that the commitment I make to young people will never be lost like it was in 2012 when I tried. So when I saw what was happening, I was still resolute and the work needed to be done, and I was committed to doing it because I'd already put myself out there. What I didn't know was that they were going to politicize it the way they did. And what happened, but here's the blessing in it, right? Because I still don't see it as a negative. We still were able to organize so much pressure and momentum that they put $2.086 million towards the youth programs. However, they had no tracking mechanism, nowhere to show the ROI of that investment, nor did all the money go towards the population that needed it the most. And so that is when I decided, okay, this can no longer be this way. Kids in South Stockton, in my district, need to be invested in a real way and not used as political props. And the politics of Kim Wormsley have to be met with accountability. So my first theory was, let me find somebody who wants to run against her from the community, who knows the needs, who's respected, and I will invest in their campaign and I will help run their campaign. Because again, they look at me as a celebrity, not somebody who worked for a union for 11 years and organized city, state, and
got
national.
Those skills. I want y'all to pay attention to that.
That I apply to my business. Still the same skills. So once I couldn't find anybody, people were just like, I don't think it'll ever change. These people will never, it's never going to be different. And I go back to my whole family lives here. I come here a lot. I talk about Stockton a lot. There's just no way that they've just done the city that bad to where people don't believe change can happen.
Yeah.
So going back to that manifestation, that's when I said that I'm going to go ahead and make the personal commitment and sacrifice. I'm going to do it for free in essence, because I'm going to donate my salary.
Yes.
I'm going to move back home. I went and got me a house.
Mm-hmm.
Before I got a house, because I know the politics of the city,
Right.
I registered to run in the district. And then I got me a house at a different address and registered for a safe at home voter.
Okay.
So nobody can know my home address, because they release stuff.
Right.
They then went to release my address where I was staying in Stockton, and they did it hoping it would make me unsafe here.
Right.
But it wasn't my house. And when I look at that, then they said, well, he doesn't live here. Well, now they know where I live, because they've been driving by my house. They've been coming to my house. There's video of, people that I ran against in front of my house. So, the politics now are starting up. But the thing that I love is that they thought that I would take the rejection and make it a negative thing. When I look at it, I'm claiming victory for $2 million.
Ooh,
I'm claiming victory that in spite of their opposition, I moved back home, which they thought I never would. I self-funded my campaign, which they are unable to.
Right.
And I went deep into the community and met the leaders and met the community where they were and understood the issues and started doing the work before I got elected, and have built relationships that now are going to push us through to victory.
Yes, it is.
And then now you have a real leader with real business and common sense and real accountability. That this right here ain't even going to be as loud as the accountability on the dais. So it's going to be a different day that I think gets more people awake and woke around what's happening in their city, and more engaged and active, because this really is shifting the power from how it's traditionally been back to the hands of the people.
Ooh, ashe and amen. I almost caught the Holy Ghost. I really felt that I tell people all the time, it's ordained for you. It's ordained. I call you the prodigal son. I call you the truth seeker. And a lot of people, it's blunt face trauma to the face when you say it, but it's not, you're hitting it on the nose every time. And I think it's also a gift of discernment that you have, and be able to call it out, but also now have the worldview, also have the lived experience, the experiences on the ground in Stockton. A lot of people say it's not like it's like any other city that's been disenfranchised. And as you travel and you gain knowledge, you bring that back and you apply it. And that's what we wanted. We wanted the practicality. And let's pause right there.
But think about the trauma. Stay it for a second.
Okay.
Somebody watching right now.
Yeah.
You're in a relationship with a woman. I'm talking to the women. You're in a relationship with a man, and you walk in the room every day from working hard. Kids have been at school. You got to cook dinner. As soon as you walk in, he goes, "Man, what's wrong with you?" That's emotional abuse.
It is.
Now, if it happens every day, by the 100th time, you're going to go, "Oh, no, I just came home from work." It will be so natural that you won't even know you've been emotionally abused. When you travel the world, when you can go to Hawaii and see what fresh fruit and communities look like, and farmers markets, when you can go to Dubai and see what real commerce looks like, and real trade and
bartership,
people,
and community,
and people coming over and what do you call it when you go and visit a community, when you travel?
Yeah.
Anyway, tourism. When you see what real tourism looks like, when you live in a city like LA or Miami, and the hardest thing to decide is where you're going to go eat,
where we going to go, where we going to party, the
watch,
entertainment,
what you're,
Oof,
when you see all of that, you come back and you go, wait a minute,
what's happening here?
I have been neglected. I have been abused. I have been held back. I have been set up to fail. When you go deeper than that, and you look at South Stockton, where they keep shoving warehouses in there, and you look at that pretty little smoke coming out of the building, not really realizing the effect it's having on the environment and the lack of environmental protections that are happening. When you look at people on the Western Ranch side that look at the levee and go, man, that water is pretty, but if you don't do something to build a stronger levee and it floods, it's going to flood and destroy your property and kill people in your neighborhood. And if you don't vote to get this tax, you're not even gonna be able to build anymore, even though the big box, when you don't understand what's going on around you and you have a person that's absent, that is almost like, and I love my mom,
Yes.
when she got on drugs and she would leave me and my sister at home.
Yes.
To fend for ourselves. That was unsafe. It was unfair. And it was a complete negligence on her behalf. And that's what's happening with Kim in this district. I've said to the city manager, and back in November of 2022, I sent them an email. I said, if you guys don't start making aggressive changes, the blood of every child in this community is on your hands. And I will remind you. And I have that email and I have it printed out right now on my desk because it says the blood of every child in this community is on your hands if you don't make these changes. And I will remind you. I'm going to remind them when I get elected. I just think that when I think about how I got sucked into this, it can't be anything greater than God has said, this is where you need to be for your people right now. And it makes the sacrifice worth it because I'm actually excited at the work to happen after the election because it's less about the titles, less about the powers, less about
about putting that action in.
I'm petty, but I'm not petty to disrupt my life to the extent that I have, to spend the amount of resources and time and dedication and public announcements of what I'm doing for the sake of being petty.
And we're talking about millions of dollars that you had to say, not right now while I'm serving.
Yeah, I've already
a lot of people don't understand that.
I've already lost, like, I met with my agency about a month ago, and they were like, yeah, there's already like $1.3 million in deals that I can't do. But I've made 10 times that over this year. So I'm okay. I'm okay. It's a minor sacrifice for me because you know what? If I earn the respect of my community, if I do the work that is needed for my neighborhood and my community, my legacy will pay me 10 times. Tenfold. So I'm not worried about the immediate gratification of getting another $1 million. I'll find $1 million. It's more about when David from the Gospel Rescue Mission called and said, man, I love you. If nobody told you today because of you, we didn't have to shut down those beds.
Dang.
That feels good.
Wow.
It feels as good as anything else that I'm doing in entertainment. So
talk about these diapers you got out of a well. Just people a man stood up. Now this was like, I think your first month back.
It was my first meeting.
Oh my God, your first community meeting. I'm sitting here. And this guy said, it's a bunch of things we need and we're running out of things and just diapers, A lot of people don't understand when you're living paycheck to paycheck or that paycheck is really hand to mouth and it's not even making the mouth, diapers, toiletries, things that we take for granted, people are not even able to meet the expectations. So when you give birth to a baby, and we're doing a lot of Black maternal health and advocacy, Ashe. When you give birth to a baby, you want to be as ready as possible. And sometimes those strengths of the community you need to call on. You saw that need, you had a connection, and of all people, you call.
No, I didn't call anybody. What happened was, I did. So what happened was I was in the meeting and this guy stood up and said, we need diapers.
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm on Wild 'N Out. With Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon has incredible diapers with WAC 100. I called WAC. I was like, yo, can I get some diapers? WAC sent 8,000 diapers.
Come on.
But here's the blessing. Even though I was a blessing in doing that, because thank you for bringing it up. I totally forgot I did the diaper thing. By the way, Ralph went and filed a complaint with the FBI and the people basically saying I was using the diapers to bribe votes. Like, I just got diapers. That's what in my mind, like I get diapers.
Right.
But here's the deal. You know what it did? It did something for me. And this is where for the only time in the interview or any time I'm talking, I'll sound like a little disconnected from reality because I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know how much my bills are. I don't know I know how much I spend because I get a monthly report, but everything, I don't worry about bills. I don't worry about got to pay this, got to pay that. Am I going to feed this, feed that? I literally do whatever I want because I work so hard to be able to live a life where I can pay for it all, right?
Yes.
The diapers reminded me that real people are going through real shit.
And
that the things that I was taking for granted, flying 6 friends to Dubai first class, doing this and that, it was reckless. It was necessary to inspire my friends, but it was also like it felt good to be grounded. So that meeting with that guy Francisco,
shout out Francisco for doing the work.
When he grounded me in that moment because he reminded me that real people need real shit, and that celebrity, that world that I do live in, that I still live in. And you've been there to see it.
Yes.
It's my job, and that it needs to be contained there. And I love the fact that WAC offered to send those diapers. He followed up. He sent them. I gave them. But even online, it was people like, well, why didn't you send the diapers here? Why didn't you send them? That was a request that he made. How he, if now go support his organization. Go tap into the work he's doing. Go volunteer. Right. Go figure out how to get some of those resources. Yeah. But don't criticize why you're helping this person versus this person, because everybody can get help at some point. Exactly. And I loved in that moment that Francisco and his son was there, and his son had some kind of some kind of shirt on, and I made him put on I Love Stockton shirt. You know, I love it. You know, and it was good to see, and I thank you for bringing that up, because I'll be honest with you, we've been doing so much work, me and my family. Shout out to them and my volunteers. Shout out to the fam. I don't even know all the things we've been doing. Listen, I'm going to be a tester. I'm going to testify. We just gave away backpacks last week. Listen, and was there. Yeah. And handing it out there, the kids cheesing. They don't know how to make eye contact, and I'm watching them. It's kind of like the favorite uncles in town, and everybody's like, that's the favorite uncle. Hi, Jason. But I do love how they've been treating me since I've been home. Yeah. You know, I came back last September. Since I've been back full time, people have been very warm. I go to the Starbucks over here by the City Hall and in Western Ranch every day when I'm here, to, you know, not working. I go by there just to talk to them and see how they're all doing. And they're like, man, I love this interview, or, hey, I love what you're doing at City Hall. So people have actually embraced me. You've been a great resource. I want to thank you for that, because, you know, you brought me here to a meeting in the huddle. And now I got 3 offices in the huddle, because I could have had an office anywhere, but I want to be in the middle of community working. But you know what? We should have a huddle in South Stockton. Come on. We should have police substations in South Stockton, and we will within the first 180 days when I get there. You know, there are things that I'm enjoying in different places, like lunch at Midgley's. Yeah, we should have a strip mall with restaurants in South Stockton. You know, I talked to Floyd Mayweather. We have some of the best taco trucks. Have you tried our taco trucks? I have, but listen, we shouldn't just have to go to the taco truck. I know. I want to be able to pull up and have yogurt and Starbucks and tacos or Chick-fil-A in my neighborhood. I want to go work out at the gym 2 blocks from my house, not all the way on Marks Lane. Right. But why was the community promised a gym and then y'all put a McDonald's there? They put a McDonald's. And going back to your planning, we're going to go back to, I'm sorry to interject when you're talking about your friend, Mr. Mayweather, but going to interject. You know, the city council puts the people on planning commissions. And so what are the qualities that you're going to be looking for when you change that planning commission? Well, the first thing I'm going to do when I do assume office is I'm going to relieve everybody on every commission that's on the commission in District 6 now and start completely over. Okay. So I want to be very clear about that. And I'm going to give you some of the ideas that I have for what I want to implement. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start completely fresh. And what I'm looking for are people who are deeply rooted in the district, who understand the complexities and the opportunities, who have been doing the work, who have ambitions to continue to help to rebuild the district and the city, and who want to work to do that, and who will work as a team. You know, people who understand collaboration. I've been doing a good job of building a relationship with the county, building a relationship with the school district, because again, if your kid leaves your home and goes to school, it's not the city council to say it's not my district. That's still your kid. Yes. If that kid goes into the county pocket, it's still your kid. So we have to look at how we foster relationships and collaboration. So that's one. The second thing is I'm going to be unifying the district, creating a council that unifies the district and working in partnership with resources like RSSC to be able to strengthen the backbone of the district, but also pull together resources from outside. Like I just had a call with FIFA about investing in the soccer community here. Nice. I just met with the football coaches about how we create opportunities for the football teams. So I think that just really strengthening the systems, identifying people who are fully committed. You know, I haven't made any commitment to any one individual, like you're going to be my planning commissioner, you're going to be my Measure A person, you're going to be this, because I need to be able to establish what my vision is, the work ahead, and what my expectations are, and build a trusting relationship with those people, because I don't have time to play around. Yes. I'm going to look at this as a business and run it that way. The second part is I've been very accessible and out and doing all of that. I'm going to put a little bit of structure into what I have to do so I can really focus. Yes. I don't go to ribbon cuttings and photo ops for fun. I don't even do that for work. I will do it when I bring business to the city or when we do things to invest, like opening a clinic and other things. And then I think that, you know, one thing that is relates to policing, because I know crime is such a big issue. Here's something I haven't said that I do want to do and I do plan to do, is I do plan to develop a proposal that hopefully, if everyone is elected, that it has the same vision for how to move the city of Stockton forward, is that we look at developing a police commission.
Okay.
I think that community policing is something that we've lost in this community. I think the visibility and accountability of police in District 6 and in the city has been missing.
Right.
And the accessibility of them through these substations are missing. I think the resources right now of Measure A have been put in a general piggy bank where there should have been 65% committed to the Department for Public Safety. But the police commission allows each of us on the dais to select an individual from the community that sits on a commission that oversees the police department. That is a significant shift. And I would also like to see the police chief report to the city council directly, not through a city manager. Because a paper pusher can't really tell you how to fix crime. They push papers. We need people who can actually give the police what they need, the resources they need, the departments that they need, the investment in opioid response or in narcotics, or, you know, supporting the needs of the community, because response time right now is crazy. Interagency partnerships, so police can actually work with city police in neighboring cities, that after you exhaust overtime and there's nobody else to get in Stockton, why can't a police officer from Lathrop or Tracy or, you know, Lodi come and work to be able to fill the shift? Okay. Now, people will say, well, they don't know the communities. The police y'all got now don't know the community. But that's where you have to establish a partnership where
a lot of them don't live here either, Jason. Don't. So they don't know the culture.
But in the heart of Sonia Massey, which is a real thing people need to be paying attention to, especially if you're a person of color.
Y'all go look that up because we don't have time to go into it. Look up that.
It's a woman who called 911 for help and was murdered in her house by the police officer.
And provoked that demon when she said the blood of Jesus.
But the mother called the day before and said, don't send a racist cop. The thing is that people in the community have lost trust in some ways, but there are some good police here. And the police chief here is a good police chief.
Yes.
And he's trying his best, but we need to start making it, we need to start figuring out a way to encourage people of color to step up and take on that significant challenge of policing their neighborhoods. Right. It's a hard thing to do because you're penetrating through a culture of don't snitch, don't be the police, don't do this. But guess what? If the police were people that you all grew up with, that knew the neighborhood, that knew you, they'd probably pull up to the picnic and get a rib and talk to you and hang out.
They did when we were kids.
They did when we were kids.
Okay.
But we've gone through so much trauma,
the
word again, of watching Trayvon Martin,
yes,
of watching Atiana Jefferson, watching Michael Brown, watching all these people be murdered in a way that makes us go, we ain't fucking with the police. Well, guess what? The police ain't going away.
Right. And y'all steady calling them when somebody really gets shot, murdered, or decrepit, or something's breaking into your home. So
we need to invest in the police. We need to invest in accountability and invest in accountability.
Education and cultural competency training too.
1000%.
But that's important to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the police at the academy, and I talked to the cadets, and I said, one thing they're going to teach you is they're going to teach you to shoot to kill, but you also need to understand, how do I show up? When you know you're in Nightingale, or you know you're in Townhomes, or you know you're in Sarah Vista or Conway, what's the culture? It's a respect thing too. A lot of people try to look down on the socioeconomics of people. Sometimes we have that bias in policing. That's that community policing mindset. You're knowing the laborers. You're knowing the people that work there. You're knowing their interactions. You're getting out of your car instead of just patrolling. You're walking the streets. You're knowing the little Tyrones and the Juans and the Bobbies and the Tamikas, right? And
I got all those people in my family.
And you're letting them know, I see you.
But it's not just knowing.
It's an accountability.
It's not just accountability, but it's having a heart.
Yeah.
You know, protect and serve. Protect and serve. You know, the thing that's important that people have to understand is that there's no young person right now saying, I want to grow up and kill and rob people.
Lord.
People are products of their community, and crime is not black on black crime, it's proximity. If you have two starving dogs, I say this many times, if you have two starving dogs and you throw a raw piece of meat in the middle of the floor, they're going to kill themselves for that meat.
Right.
That the poverty alleviation is a real thing too.
Come on.
I don't know what city jobs there are, but guess what? I would want to know, what city jobs do you have right now that have minimum qualifications that are so unreachable by the way that you've not invested in the community, that you can maybe modify to make attainable for people so they have things to work for.
Come on, let's talk about that modification.
Ron Freitas,
yes,
who I've talked to, the DA, you know, he ain't talked too long because it's an election year and he want to stay clear until it's done. But he did commit that if I was to get elected, he will work with me at establishing programs that in this playground to prison pipeline. So young kids who are caught up in the system don't stay in it and can get out and continue to flourish and thrive. I've also said black and brown and women-led CBOs in this community need to be invested in by the city because there's a lot of people doing great work in underserved communities, but are not being served the right resources in order to carry those out. And again, there's lots of state and federal money out there that the city, I've already highlighted Kim and them at the city hall. They didn't even apply for $162 million of free money. How is it that you so sleep at the wheel, you know, that you don't apply for millions and millions of dollars that you could have brought here to be able to distribute in the community?
Let me tell you what the people are saying down on the ground. They think it's a setup, and they really believe that their district has forgot about them. Yeah. I hear it all the time. Shout out to Sangri Car Club going out to their actual tournament that they had out there. They were activated. It was over 1,000 people that came in to Van Busker and just talking on the ground and actually listening to our Chicano family. They were activated. Yeah. They were paying attention to you, and they were like, "Hey, what's going on with this guy, Jason Lee?" Oh yeah.
Oh, where was this at?
This is right here in Van Busker. Oh. Now, mind you, Van Busker is one of those large parks. Just like Stribley, we don't have a lot of them. We can't get activated in McKinley. Yeah. You know why? The way it's looking.
Well, you saw me climb up that fence so I could show you why. Because for years.
Remember when I text you? Well, I said the video by itself, when I saw the dead dog and the people shooting up in the tents, I said, we have been normalizing this chaotic, apocalyptic
look. When a woman gets home from work and her man looks at her and goes, that it becomes normalized trauma to where it's just the way it is. You know, again, when I filmed that, do you know why I even did that video? Because 2 days before, Kim sent an email to the whole district saying we're fixing the park in the park. Right. And so she told everybody in the email, and I got the email because she left me on the distribution list. But I know that's not what the park looked like. So we went and filmed the park so people could actually see what it looks like. And so when they saw it, they were outraged. Me climbing the fence to get over to get the shot because I really wanted to I wanted to sit in a pool that I used to swim in as a kid to show people what the pool looked like, and that went viral. But you know, again.
So can we talk about the stroll though? That's what was so eerie. And so it was so prolific, that shot. I hope that's a Pulitzer-winning commercial shot. I don't know what it is.
Oh, where I was walking.
You were just strolling and walking and was like, and this looks like, is this what you want? Like, it was so calming, but so scary at the same time in the music
with the ice cream truck in the background.
Yeah, the ice cream truck in the background.
We shot that.
Y'all have to see that.
We shot that in 30 minutes. You don't need a lot of time to tell the story of what's wrong in the city, right? It's clear. Right now, it's so funny because just today I was talking to Michelle Padilla, who's a councilwoman. She's under fire.
Right.
They've written 5 stories about this woman, 4 to 5 stories about this woman in the last 3 days.
And educated her.
About her having a barbecue for her community that I went on stage in house shoes.
Listen, I saw them.
They're very comfortable house shoes.
You know me, I said, why he wear them red shoes?
Because I was at home and I forgot I had to go to the picnic, you know, because I was planning to be at work that day. Because I was planning to be at work that day, so I donated a TV from Hollywood Unlocked. I donated a bike. I donated to a scooter or whatever. I donated stuff for them to raffle because I wasn't gonna be there.
Right.
But since I was in town at the house and not working, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull up. So me and my family pulled up, and we support Michelle. Michelle supported me.
Relax, got up there.
And I said what I said, and I stand by what I said, because I'm educating everybody. Every video, if you're watching right now, it takes 4 votes in this city to change things. And there are people that are aligned with the idea that Stockton should be new and fresh, and that all-American city that it used to be. We're not sitting in a room plotting and this and this and that, but we have, you know, we go to the same events and we talk. What do you think about the homelessness? Well, we need to tackle the homelessness.
That's the dialogue that's been missing. Okay, that's the dialogue you were invoking people to understand.
But we're meeting in different spaces. Everybody that's running, and we're all finding out what we support and what we don't support. And I got up there and I just said, as education, be smart this election season. You have 4. It takes 4 votes to make change, and they've turned that into this thing where now they want to launch investigation. But here's the deal: Why are they not investigating the Measure A scam?
Right.
And the fact that $360 million has not gone towards what they promised the community.
Well, hopefully there's some investigations going on for child abuse.
Why have they not investigated the claims that one of the city council members was molested by their niece? Why are they not investigating the Brown Act violations or the reported $50,000 increase the city manager who's making over $450,000 is getting ready to get, while the community still hasn't restored the benefits of police officers and firefighters? You know, why are there dogs running all over the city? You know, why is there still 100 police officers down when they're getting ready to go into another $360 million of funding with no real plan to add to those positions? So, you know, if you want to launch investigations, launch those investigations.
Right.
But this political witch hunt and this political dog whistling that they're doing, it's so comical that this is the first time I comment on it, because I don't even care about it. I'm going to focus the next 95 days to get into every single voter, to telling them that if you all get this right, this election season, you will see a different Stockton. I promise you, because not just the fact that you'll have all these different people who are on the same page, but you'll actually have a person that's up there fighting really hard to not only keep us all on track, but to keep the city on track of moving forward. Shouldn't take more than 4 years to get a cover at the Weber Point.
And we've been burning up ever since, Jason. And it's so hard to sell that space the way it is. It's not a lot of event venues. We have not been activated in this waterfront. I don't know how long. If I see someone else naked bathing in the waterfront without nobody taking them aside and giving them some support, I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel like I'm going to stream. I'm in a dream. And when I saw you place that, you have to pin it to your Only Jason Lee. When I saw that, it just.
So which part?
When you were walking through, it was like a nightmare, and then it flashed.
It did sound like Jason Voorhees, or Halloween was gonna. Mike Myers was gonna pop up.
It did, but it was a night where we've been living.
You have to tell the story that way. I'm a storyteller. My job is I'm a storyteller. You know, the same way that I put out, the Ralph White documentary, you know, for people to see what housing in the district looks like for some people.
That was unfortunate to see that.
But I also had a conversation with Ralph after the election. I said, hey, you know, I grew up having a lot of respect for you and what you've done for the city. You know, I have to work with you once I'm elected. You know, and you know, Ralph laughed, and you know, I don't know where he stands now, but you know, I'm fully committed to working with Ralph because he needs to be a part of the change too.
He has to be a part of the change. I mean, he's been 16. He spent 16 years on the dais.
Hold on.
He's done a lot in the community.
Change is a coming. So I want to just calm all the noise of the, you know.
I like how you zoned it into that mic.
I want to calm all the way that it's been, or the benefits people have had personally, or the way that things used to be, or the way things always been, because slavery was also there for 400 years.
Listen.
So tenure in a situation or in a position doesn't negate the fact that change is coming.
Come on.
And change is going to be what we all have to embrace, unless we're going to fight against change. But I don't know what you're going to do when change comes, because here it comes.
Get on the
95
train.
days.
Because a change is coming. You remember that?
No.
Okay. Listen, you haven't been doing all your church singing, have you? You got to have the gospel in you. Listen, I want to go to these church lady announcements before we run out, because I'm looking at our time, and I know a lot of you all are wanting to hear who Mr. Lee is endorsing. We'll end with that. And what next steps can we get ready to vote? And I want to also hear about your presidential endorsement, if possible. So listen, we're gonna the block party, brought to you by Jason Lee. I Am Ready Youth Leadership. It's gonna be music, Zumba, fun, food, safe, free. August 6th, 5 to 10 p.m. Please leave the drama at home. He's not gonna ask you that. I'm gonna ask you that as a leader. If you want more things for your kids to go to that are free, make sure you keep your house in order. And that's that good auntie in me that's going to tell you when you come out here.
Well, there'll be lots of security and police.
Yes, a lot of security and police. But when you come out here, it's about a fun-filled fun family time. I'll be out there with my family. Paul E. Weston Park, 3603 East WS EW Woods. And again, this is brought to you by the Hollywood Unlocked Foundation, HollywoodCaresFoundation.org. And I'm excited. We're going to be putting that as a dope flyer. I love the flyer. You always have like fun, beautiful flyers. The one that you did for Cinco de Mayo, when they put that hat on you, the sombrero.
Okay, can I just say something?
I love that.
But let me say this.
Huh.
If I offended anybody, because some people,
were offended.
No. Nobody was offended. I did get a call where people were like, I can't believe you did that. But I literally did not do it with the intent to be offensive. And I don't, I'm not running as a politician. I'm running as a person. People make mistakes. If I did offend people, I apologize. But, a lot of people actually love the flyer. But yeah, I mean, I try to be as creative. I have a good graphics team.
And for y'all that are super overly sensitive, let's talk to your therapist about that. I mean, we really have to show up. There was no cultural appropriation. And I'm going to say it. It was some of everybody there really taking a time in. It was like a family reunion. And we wear sombreros around here. I mean, California was part of Mexico. And we support our Mexicans. We love our Mexican Americans.
Listen, what I love about my campaign is it's been extremely inclusive, right?
Yes,
the makeup of my campaign team is from everybody from Filipino to Black to Latino to other folks from other Asian descents. The Sikh community has been phenomenal to me. It's welcomed me in several times. In fact, what I love so much about this campaign is that I have learned a lot about the South Side that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Of course, we know South Scribner, walking to the flea market, going to McKinley Park and all that. Mm-hmm. But I didn't even know the Sikh temple was doing such a service to the community here and feeding the community, know? And shout out to them. They've been great to me. So, I mean, my campaign is a reflection of rich diversity and how I plan to bring us all together.
Shay, thank you for that. And please keep up the wonderful events that you've been bringing since you've been here. You've been very activated. I want to go forth with our next Church Lady community announcement. It's the Save the Date Reinvent South Stockton Coalition brings to you again the South Stockton Resident Summit. As a leader here, they hadn't done it for 7 years. We brought it back last year. It came out. It was beautiful. We got everybody that was a representation of the South Stockton. Shout out to the South Stockton OGs. Shout out to Advanced Peace, Concrete Development. And I'm going to get in trouble with saying names, but we were all in the building coming together. This year, I'm throwing a block party. And so this is going to be free, fun event. It's going to be a family style reunion. We're going to have Old Schools by Sangri Car Club. We're going to be having carnival games, a concert by MDP Band, and a touch of magic that will be there playing the oldies but goodies. And so we're going to be there. That's happening October 5th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can email us at info@RSSC Coalition. Later that day, listen, we're going to be coming together. We're going to be supporting the movement that's happening in South Stockton. We're also going to be rededicating the Hmong gardening. A lot of people don't know the Hmongs were integrated here through the late 70s and the early 80s. And so I went to Montezuma School and I was under Janie B. Reddish. And during that time, it was Mr. Schaefer. Shout out to Mr. Schaefer. He was a third grade teacher that taught at Montezuma for many, many years. And one of the things he did was you're going to learn about the Hmong community. They were integrating. They were learning English. It was a lot of cultural things that they brought in that we didn't eat. They brought in certain candy, certain food. And I remember actually learning how to count in Hmong, right? These are the things that you don't really talk about. Stockton is so diverse. We were the diverse city in 2021. And I remember those things, and we're going to be taking our time dedicating that. So we're going to be doing them with the state of California and recognizing their commitment on the county fairgrounds. So that's going to be happening on the 5th. We're also going to be having the Social Justice Gala. So this Social Justice Gala is the gathering. It's 10 years of collective impact work from every individual, connection, and community member that has come around and said, we want what's best for the South Side. And that's going to be happening. We're going to have cocktail hour. Doors opens at 5:30. And then dinner and awards will happen from 6 to 10 p.m. I hope you can be there. Prioritize being there. You know, Mr. Lee, you're going to be there. I appreciate you too for showing up in the community like you've been doing. Every time we call you, you send a representative or you show up, and we see that accountability in you. And I want to tell you, I appreciate you. I appreciate you even coming to the podcast. And
the work that I'm doing isn't just to run and win. It is to rebuild, regain trust, put some structure and put support in for organizations that need the support to do the work, and to put accountability and transparency in the delivery of leadership from people who are elected here. This is not going to be a lifelong career thing for me, where the rest of my life, at least now that I'm going to be in politics. I will say, people have been approaching me about, what about the Senate one day or governor?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have an idea of that. I have an idea of what I want the South Side to look like, what I want Stockton to look like, that underutilized taxpayer arena down there to be filled with events for families every day, and new jobs be created here, not just fast food jobs, but actually jobs where people can
mobility, poverty alleviation.
And we have to address not just the homelessness crisis here, we have to address the housing crisis, because there are homeless people that I'm meeting on the street who are they have a good job, they just been priced out of their home because there's no accountability. So those are conversations that are going to have to have. So there's real aggressive ideas that I have that I think will be helpful. But again, I don't have all the solutions. It's going to take me partnering with you and partnering with different people to figure it out. But I'm committed. Now you want to get to these endorsements?
I do. Thank you. I really do. So we want to hear from, now that you've heard where his mindset is, where he's going, addressing some of the controversial things y'all all had questions about, and then really redirecting us to focus. This is a focus time now. We're listening to the who and the why.
Yeah. So I'm going to just jump to the top of this ticket. I'm not going to really talk about who I'm endorsing as president, because unlike where a lot of people sit in how they're making their decision, Jason Lee, the owner of Hollywood Unlocked, the pulse of culture, the person who's connected in lots of ways. I just interviewed Robert Kennedy Jr. the other day. That'll be coming out this week.
That's
I'm waiting.
Dope.
I'm waiting.
Can we take pause for that for a moment and celebrate you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's an interview. It's a
That's
big
dope.
interview.
Don't even run over that.
It's a big interview, but again, that they'll be able to see that.
That's historical.
We had a great 2-hour conversation. Right now, I'm working on interviewing Dr. Cornel West, who's also running for president.
Let's go.
I'm talking with the White House about the vice president, and Donald Trump's campaign has reached out about an interview. So at the end of the day,
let's go.
Jason Lee, who does the work, will be interviewing people, right?
Yes.
Jason Lee, I don't want people in Stockton to get distracted by who I'm supporting for president, because at the end of the day, the potholes, the dogs, the dead bodies, the lack of jobs, the lack of opportunity, the lack of accountability, Measure A, all that is not controlled by the president. So I want the people, first of all, focus on what's in front of you right now, and that's the city council, the mayor, the county supervisors, like those things that touch the budgets, that touch the things that you're wanting to see change here. That's important. City council, definitely supported in Mario Enriquez. Mario, I've been watching him. I've been looking at different events that he's gone to, and I've been reading up on him and looking at all his posts and stuff. The thing that scared me about Mario was that he was endorsed by everybody.
Okay.
In terms of the unions and the Democrats and this and that. And I didn't really know where he stood, because I know that in this city, a lot of people just want to get a decoration of endorsements. Me, I had no endorsements, had a 6-year-old campaign manager and a lot of goodwill,
Ooh, still laugh at that. That's amazing.
But I've built a relationship, and I've built a relationship, and I've gotten to know him, and I see him doing the work. I see his heart, and I understand his passion. He's been able to travel out of the city, work in DC, and have a different lens, like we talk about. And now he's back dedicating. He's knocking on doors, and he's in the street every day. So Mario is somebody to support. I think it's District 4. Okay. Mayor, it's going to be Antonia. I mean, it's going to be Christina Fugazi, Christina Fugazi or Tom Petty. Okay. I've been very clear that in meeting both and getting to know both somewhat, I don't know Tom as much as I know Christina. I think that Christina has, as an educator, has a lot of experience. She's been the vice mayor of Stockton. She's been on the planning commission. She's my go-to person when I have questions about policy, history, why this didn't work, what was this investment, this and that, all the different town halls or forums I went to. All my preparation came by my team working with her to get all the information. And so I find her to be somebody that I think is knowledgeable. It doesn't mean that she's perfect, because I know for sure there's not one person in this race, including me, who's perfect.
Right.
but I know that I can work with her. And
Okay.
the thing I will say to people that's really important is that you have to have 4 votes to be able to make things happen.
Okay.
That's the education people don't know, because the city manager runs the city. That's the CEO, so that's the boss of the city. But
Right.
the elected people with the power to tell the boss what to do requires that all 4 people, minimum out of 7, can make them accountable to what they promise. And that, I think, is the thing that people have to do. You don't just go through and say, I like this person's name, or I like this. No, you need to vote smart.
Oh, sure.
Mario Enriquez, Christina Fugazi, Jason Lee, those are 3 names. I also met with Mariela Ponce.
Okay.
I like Mariela Ponce. I met her. I met her husband. I like the fact that she has chosen to stay out of the fray. She doesn't want to get in all the online fighting. That she's focused on building her relationship direct to the voters.
Okay.
Her strategy clearly won. She became the #1 person in that race. And I met Wakar. I like him. But I feel like Wakar is a part of that political establishment that's funded by the people out north who are funding people to get in there and move a certain interest to the top.
Okay.
I do want to send a message to those people. I will work with you too. But anybody who intentionally goes after my family or me in a personal way has to understand that they're fruit of the poisonous tree. And anything that's a part of holding us back as a city will have no place at City Hall when I'm sitting there.
Ashe. So
Yeah.
you were very direct. I appreciate that.
I mean, this is the moment that I can always point back to. I say what I said.
Right.
Now, I have met with Bob Gutierrez, Michael Duffy, Anthony Barquette. I'm meeting with Fritz Groupie.
And a lot of these people are running these names down. Who are these people? Are they movers and shakers?
These are movers and shakers, but these are really successful business people that I think in many ways oftentimes are colored as bad people.
Right.
There's no bad people in the city. There's people doing things that are not good.
Right.
On all parts of the city.
On all parts.
So when I've met with each of these people, I found really good work that they've been doing. I want to invite them to do good work in District 6.
Okay.
I want to sit down and partner with them. It's just that the inequities of what has happened in District 6 can no longer happen. So that's the only thing. I want a one Stockton experience.
Okay.
If you can go to have yogurt with your kids at Lincoln Center,
right,
you should be able to go and have yogurt with your kids on Mariposa Road. If you can have a hammer skate on Hammer Lane, you should be able to open up Skate Rock City with Floyd Mayweather in District 6.
Nice.
If you get sick and need to go to the doctor, you shouldn't have to go all the way to Kaiser out north. You should be able to go to the clinic right there in the neighborhood. Yep. So those ideas that people would think are just completely impossible, I've already met with behavioral health who said, let's explore that. I've already met with CMC who said, let's figure that out. So there are people who want to do it. You just got to have somebody that says, I need this to happen.
Yes.
I will no longer support development by these companies that are not developing here, or we will go seek other developers to come and do it.
Wow.
You met the guy that's managing the $6.38 billion for the state.
I met him, y'all. I met him.
So you're either the local developers will develop it or other developers will develop it.
And brought over 50 of us together.
Yeah.
And let us know this money is here. The city or the county has not tapped into $6.6 billion.
The county has now. Shout out to Genevieve Valentine. She has been a phenomenal resource.
And public health too.
Genevieve is so connected right now to the money that I would be surprised if they got less than $70 million. I'd be surprised.
But at that moment, I'm speaking about that moment. At that moment, we were flabbergasted.
Yeah.
We had no idea. Again, it's supposed to be our city representatives, our county representatives, our state representatives that are saying, hey, this money is here. We need you to mobilize. You all need to go after it. And no one didn't go after it. It was flabbergasting.
And they were all in DC that week, rubbing elbows. But Michelle Padilla from the city was at that meeting. And that's the thing, that when you look at how much she's been attacked now, this political dog whistling, it's because she does represent this new form of government where we are actually trying to get things done for the city. You know, I know they say she's a 209 times operative. I'm a 209 times operative. Yes. Everything you saw me standing on the stage at the Impact Awards.
Right.
I've been put into a box of something else that I have no control over.
Right.
But that again that's the political.
That's what they do here.
No, but that's the thing that people want.
Right. To keep us separated and not organized.
Separated, not organized, and afraid of change.
So we need higher vibrations. Think higher vibrations this election. Think strategy. Think logic. Listen to people, hold your representatives accountable. I tell you all, follow the money, Follow the influence on each representative and why they make the decisions that they make on that dais. I'm going to be looking forward to supporting your campaign personally.
Thank you.
And supporting anybody who wants to know. I care for my people. And a lot of people, whether they say or not, there's a handful that truly, truly know me. There's a handful that can really call me by my government name. I don't allow everybody to call me by my government name. But if I know you call me by my government name and I come to you and I talk to you, it's in righteousness, it's in love, it's in support of the light. And it's time now. And I appreciate you so much, Jason, for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Set things correct here. I'm not deleting any of this. You're going to get every hour and 45 minutes, whatever we went. And if it's outdoing your listening ability, come back to it and rewind that because it's receipts. All right.
And I'll be at every forum, every debate, everything this political season. And again, the last time we had all these forums, the incumbent did not show up.
Right.
She said she felt unsafe. How you feel unsafe and you gonna represent the South Side? You gotta be tough. Okay.
Well, you feel unsafe when you do a lot of shadow work. And when you do a lot of shadow work and you write letters and emails and you set people up and there's no accountability, you feel unsafe. And that wasn't the story that wasn't told. I'm going to tell it though.
But again,
so you have to make that up in your mind.
But in general, I just want to say anybody that wants to do the work of transformation and wants to be disruptive and wants to be aggressive towards change has to have the courage to do the work and show up. And so I'm hoping that my opponent shows up to all the forums, all the debates, all the public interactions, because the people deserve to be able to hear people debate ideas of what the vision for moving forward looks like. That's
and
all
emotionally and intelligently, like you have been. And when it's BS, you shut it down. And then if you need to entertain it or direct it, it's dialogue. And that's what we're missing. And for someone to compare any type of intellect, there's different levels of intellect. And that's what we expect from our leadership. So I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah,
I know you're showing up like that. I appreciate you again. And listen, you can tune in, share this video, please. If you have any questions, you can write in, you can comment. Shout out to Mayfair Management who manages the podcast. If you have any questions or you'd like to be on the podcast, or even if you would like to reach out to Mr. Lee, please, focus on, tell us where we can reach you as the running mate.
And support, and I'm supporting Rhodesia Ransom. Also very important to put that out there as well. Rhodesia, shout out to Rhodesia.
Endorsement. Shout out to Rhodesia.
Yeah, once I talk to Kamala, I'll come back to y'all with that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you could just reach me. You reach me on my website, jasonleeforstockton.com. I mean, people know, they know how to find me.
Yeah, but I'm going to let people know that. And I have endorsed everybody I've endorsed, told them to put their information down. Y'all that are 18 or older, y'all vote. People who say they're not a part of this Stockton community, y'all are a part of the Stockton community. We touched on that with Rhodesia being an implant or a bat, they called them. You are now part of the Stockton community. If you live in District 6, if you live in whatever district that is up, it is your roles and your responsibility to vote. Your ancestors paved the way. So thank you so much. Peace, love, light, always. It's your girl, Rubber Ray. We out.
Peace.